All right, ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies, ladies and gents, I am on my way into the so-called city. And on my way into the city, I am taking the time to chit-chat with you all because I ain't got nothing better to do. No, I've been wanting to do this for a moment. It allows me to not be distracted by anything else other than traffic. So as I go into the city, we're going to have a little conversation, if you don't mind. And for the most part, I know most of you don't mind. So I'm going to put you on pause for a second. 1 second. Okay, this is about a 45 to 65 minute trip. And so I am going to take my time as I transverse the sidewalks known as streets. What I do want to mention to all of you, because I think it is somewhat important, I've been talking for the better part of 11 years about several things that are important. One of those important things is the Trading with the Enemies Act. There were quite a few people, 2012, mentioning how important the Trading with the Enemies Act was. And those individuals who mentioned how important the Trading with the Enemies Act was, they kept talking about the fact that we were under the Trading with the Enemies Act. So, as I showed you yesterday, all you got to do is type in President Trump renews the Trading with the Enemies Act. They do it every single year under the NDAA. They don't need to do it every single year. Their excuse was, well, we have China and Korea and Zimbabwe and you know, all those other rogue countries that, oh, Zimbabwe's not a rogue country, just using it as an example. Okay? Don't shoot the messenger. All right. And we need some defense against them, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Lord have mercy. That's the dumbest, most stupidest, that's right, I said stupidest, excuse that could ever be lodged for not changing a stupid law. It's because 4 countries, we'd have to create a new law for the 4 countries. Then why not do that? You created a new law, removing it from all the other countries, so why not create a new law? As I showed in the video last night, I wasn't intending on that because I didn't know when I started the video. I thought it was going to be just a simple documentation of, hey, take a look. But it turns out, and it really did turn out, that, ladies and gentlemen, when they did the Trading with the Enemies Act, they did nothing but military laws. One after the other, 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 after the other. Military, military, military. The only reason why they would spend so much time on military laws, the only reason why they would spend that type of time is if it was that important. Let me see if I can explain. The laws they enacted in 1917, October 6th, that full day set of laws was only dealing with one thing. Military. The industrial military complex. That was the beginning of it all. The March 9th, the Trading with the Enemies Act of October 6th, 1917. That was the beginning of it all. You see, if those laws only applied to World War I, which was about to be over in less than a year, if those laws applied solely to World War I, then why haven't they been repealed? No, go back and take a look. None of those laws have been repealed. If they applied to World War I solely, then why haven't they been repealed? Full days of nothing but laws, giving the military more and more power. The Secretary of Defense. We keep thinking that the president is the most powerful man in the free world. Why? Who came up with that stupid phrase? Well, the media came up with that phrase. The government came up with that phrase. The most powerful man in the free world? Okay. If that's the title that they want to have, give it to them. Title doesn't mean anything. Anybody can have a title. Companies create titles for people all the time. They just create them out of the thin air because they don't mean anything. So, as I've been focusing on trying to get people to understand the state in which we exist, my hope, and I apologize for the background noise, what's happening, and I have you on my headset. I tried doing it without the headset, and that was horrible. I have you on my headset because I'm on a dirt road, and in a moment I'm going to be on the regular road. In about maybe less than 3 minutes, I'll be on the regular road. However, this is a dirt road, and because it's a dirt road, we're going to get some background noise. I have to go into the city to get Social Security because I had to get a job. I couldn't make it on my own because people keep pushing me and I can't make it to the edge. Anyway, Grandmaster Faster, Fierce 5. Okay. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's give you a taste of what all of that means. Why is it so important that we're under military rule? No. As I said yesterday, you all are making a mistake when you go into court and you think you're exposing something. You're not exposing anything. You're not giving some new bombshell. You really must understand that. You are not exposing anything. You're not giving a new bombshell. When I tell you that I am revealing their secrets, they know I'm revealing their secrets. But they also know that I am revealing their secrets in, let's see, how do I put it? I'll put it this way. They know that my audience is not big enough. They know that I am not like some of the individuals out there that has hundreds of thousands of subscribers. So because I don't reach as large an audience, then they're not concerned because there's not enough of you. Nobody will believe you. And my videos, hey, there are too many antics in my videos. That boy, he just be clowning around all the time. I can't take him seriously. Oh man, he acts like a child. Oh, I can't stand him, and the music. So they're not worried about me. I told you there's an art to all the madness. You see, if I was just to put out a well-produced video that was with all the designs and directions and all that, I would end up like David Wynn Miller. I would end up like Patrick Devine. I would end up like Mrs. Croft. I would end up like Mr. Jerry Kane. Do I need to go on? No, though I do trust the God that I serve. But as I told you, my understanding with my God is as long as I'm respectful, because he requires me to be, because they sit in a relative position, relative to his authority. So because they sit in a relative position, I want you to hear me, because they sit in a relative position, I have to respect them. Now, what I will tell you is if they lie, I can call them out on their lies. And that's all I'm doing, is calling these people out on their lies. Now, some people will say, well, they're not lying. They're just not telling the full truth, the whole truth, and, that truth thing. No, they are lying. This has been their routine. Why? Because you, the people, are the ones for whom they are supposed to represent. And as I mentioned, because you, the people, have chosen men to rule over you, as opposed to the true God, then you have to suffer the consequences. Don't take my word for it. Go back and read it for yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, the first book of Samuel, the original first book of First Kings, now called First Samuel, all you have to do is read the first 4 chapters. You can even understand that originally the Israelites were ruled by judges who were relatively sitting in their position as ordained by God, blah, blah, blah. And they kept doing exactly what we do today, ignoring the rules. There's only one rule in existence: love. That's the only rule. And we keep ignoring that rule. We show hatred, we show envy, we show jealousy, we show strife. We do everything but love. Oh, but when something goes wrong, all of a sudden we want to love. Something go wrong, all of a sudden we want to, I'm sorry. I won't do that no more. I apologize. Only when something goes wrong. What the flying fart? I'm not blaming anyone. I said we. I didn't say you. I said we. When something goes wrong, we. I include myself in that group. So let's get back to the good part, if y'all don't mind. Okay, because when we're going to get to it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this society in which we live here in America is no different from all the other countries. They're all ruled the same way. Why? Because there were a group of people started out with the richest ones of the earth. Now, they weren't just the richest ones, because anybody can be rich. A fool can be rich. Okay? Anyone can be rich. I promise, you have my word. I am not trying to be rich. Because with richness comes idiocracy. All rich people end up thinking more of themselves than necessary, and they will do anything to stay rich. They will do anything to maintain that facade. Because being rich is a facade. It's not a reality. Being rich is a facade. It is not a reality. What is wealth? I have $100,000 in the bank. You have 100,000 who? Dollars. What is a dollar? You have 100,000 of them? And that makes you rich? Man, I have 100 million grains of sand. Does that make me rich? Again, individuals who believe that they're rich materially, that's a facade. There was no such thing as being rich materially. So I'm not trying to be rich. I'm not trying to gain more monies. Yes, you need it to survive, fine. Then as long as I have what I need to survive, then I'm all right. Ladies and gentlemen, the trip I'm making into the city right now, I do once every month and a half. If I have to go sooner, I'll go. But other than that, I don't need to go into the city. There is no reason for me to have to travel into the city. I have everything I need. I have food, I have water, I have clothing, I have what they refer to as sustenance. So why would I want to go into the city? The people in the city, those people have COVID. Yeah, that's what they're dealing with. The people out here, I promise you, ain't nobody sick out in the area that I'm in. Because how are they going to get sick? I can feel it in the air. Let me see. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's the only way is for something to travel in the air. The people out here, they don't commingle with each other like that. They mind their own business. Technically they mind their own business. Sometimes they will make your business their business. But they have left me alone. They don't bother me. As a matter of fact, I don't go out of my way to communicate with them. Because these are not my friends. But they're your neighbors. Yes, and I love my neighbors. Okay? I really do. But these are not my friends. These are just people who live in the same general area and vicinity. That's it. All right, so let's get back to our conversation, because I've been wanting to have this conversation with y'all for quite some time. What's going on right now in our society is they're getting ready to change the system. You guys have heard about it for years. You heard Hillary Clinton told you guys. Y'all didn't pay attention. Remember, she is part of that system. And when the system she's a part of, and I don't understand why they are part of that system, because Hillary Clinton saw it firsthand how the system will turn on you. The system turned on her. They promised her the presidency, and next thing you know, what happened? No more presidency. She won the election, ladies and gentlemen, and they took it from her. Donald Trump won this last election, and they took it from him, because this is the system. Again, I'm not a Hillary Clinton fan, and I'm not a Donald Trump fan. You know what? I was watching the news about Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, and I'm going to tell you, they're doing a very good job with Galvin. Okay? Oh, he's just so galvanizing. Okay, Gavin Newsom, let me explain something so that you guys will understand. Gavin Newsom, they are trying to make us, I feel for him. Okay, they're trying to make us feel sorry for Gavin Newsom. So I'm going to tell you something, and I only saw it just today, but I haven't heard anybody making a big deal about it. At the campaign for his recall, where he's trying to get people to go out and vote to prevent him from being recalled, do you see him shaking hands with people? Do you see him hugging people, patting people on their back, getting up close and personal? Ladies and gentlemen, we don't do that no more. There is no more shaking hands. There is no more hugging of people, especially out in public, on television. But that was Gavin Newsom. But wait, hold on a minute. Like I said, I'm not Democrat or Republican. But didn't California issue a mandate of separation and mask wearing when out in public? Sure enough, sure enough. So hypocrisy is hypocrisy. Now, I promise you there is something about Galvin, the person, who I think is, in my opinion, all right. Just the person, not the politician. Just like I said the same thing about Barack Obama. As a politician, I can't stand either one of them. Because I know that, they lying not just through their teeth. They're lying through skin and pores and orifices and everything. Everything that they can possibly lie through, that's what they do. That's what I saw. That's what I've been seeing. It is irritating to see this in people. All right, so let's get back to this new world order that everybody wants to say doesn't exist. And if you believe in a new world order, you believe in conspiracies. Just showed you in a video yesterday, or no, 2 days ago, about the Revelation, the 13th chapter, and then Revelation, the 17th chapter, where it talked about the wild beast. Everybody, who's the wild beast? In a nutshell, the wild beast is the organization on earth with all of the nations associated and gathered. That's the wild beast. That's why it has 7 heads, meaning kingdoms, and the horns, meaning kings. So it's the collective group of the kings and the kingdoms or nations of this earth. And there's only one organization that embodies all of the nations and all of the kings of the earth. And that nation is called the United Nations. Look, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and pay attention to the word. United Nations. I didn't make it up. These are not my words. I did not create these words, ladies and gentlemen. Revelation says that the wild beast that the harlot sits upon means 7 kings. 5 have fallen, referring to nations. One is the Roman nation, at that time it was written, and one is yet to come, which the 13th chapter says that this one will have two kings ruling over it. That's why it speaks of a two-horned ram. Ladies and gentlemen, the United States and Great Britain are that two-horn. Why? Because the United States and Great Britain don't do nothing without the other. They're partners in crime. Go back, look at every war that's ever been involved in with the United States and see if Great Britain is not right by their side. See if they do not have a compact to communicate and cooperate with each other and protect each other should they be attacked. Why do you think the United States got involved in World War II? Did not Great Britain say, hey, what y'all doing over there? You said we get that kicked? Okay, they bombing London. Get y'all over here and help us. Okay, don't take my word for it. Go and look at history. World War I. The United States wasn't in the war at first. Why is the United States always coming into these wars at the tail end? And when they wanted to go after Iraq, the United States and Great Britain are the ones who convinced the rest of the world, well, not really the rest of the world, you know, those little small nations that they wanted to consider was the neighbors and the world having an opinion, when most of the other countries said, what y'all doing? We ain't got no time for that. That man ain't did nothing to y'all. What Iraq do? You say he got weapons of mass destruction, and prove it. And they produce false information about weapons of mass destruction and never been held accountable for lying to the world. America has never held itself accountable for lying to its people. Ever. No, we go on with our daily lives because that don't affect us. That ain't got nothing to do with me. No, that's them. That's what they did. Isn't that the excuse you all give? You see something wrong, and here's America. You see something, say something. And guess what? None of you do. None of you said anything. Shame on you. None of you said anything. Well, I'm saying something. I'm saying that hypocrisy is hypocrisy. This New World Order controls our media. Now, what do I mean by they control our media? They control the narrative. Does that mean that all of the owners of every media conglomerate is part of the New World Order? No. When they, let's say, CNN or Rupert Murdoch, is Rupert Murdoch proud of it? I don't know, and I don't care. It doesn't matter who's part of it. Okay, not from our perspective. It doesn't matter who's part of it. What matters is that it exists. What you need to understand, and we're going to get to the root of all of this in a moment. What you need to understand is that it's happening. So, what the leaders, or the so-called, what people refer to as a cabal, not all it means a group of individuals who are running the show, the head of the beast. Remember, the wild beast has 7 heads and 10 horns, but it also has a body, which includes all the other nations. 10 showing completeness, but those horns that are sitting up there on top, well, those are the ones in control of all the horns beneath. That's why it says they give their one thought to the wild beasts. They do everything through the United Nations. Why is it that they do everything through the United Nations? Because now they can compel both small and great, young and old, rich and poor, to obey whatever they say. If the United Nations says, oh no, y'all gonna have a mask mandate, there will be a mask mandate. Doesn't matter about the protests. Why? Because the United Nations controls the country's military. Well, go ahead and check and see. Go ahead and check and see. In every conflict, if the United Nations did not come in and gain control over the military, and when nations don't want to cooperate, well, look at Iraq. What's the first thing they did? They bombed the helicopters of the military for Iraq. They bombed their planes when they could find them. And they did the same thing, the Israelis did the same thing to the Palestinians. Yasser Arafat, all of his helicopters that they had, Israel bombed them. Teach you to put your helicopters all in the same place. That was so easy. Fools. You notice the United States doesn't keep all of its military weapons in the same place? Well, Pearl Harbor was a false flag. They knew the Japanese were coming. Go back. It's been revealed. It's been uncovered. It's not hidden anymore. They don't even try to hide the fact that they intentionally and deliberately allowed the Japanese to bomb Pearl Harbor. It wasn't a fluke. It wasn't oh, look at that. That was a surprise. I didn't see that coming. It wasn't that type of a situation. Because there's a narrative. The United States needed a way into the war. See, they couldn't just go and help Britain out, even though they were allies. No, the United States needed an excuse to join World War II. And they needed the public behind it. Well, just like in order for the United States to give in to the Patriot Act, which was written years before 9/11, in order for the people to give in to the Patriot Act, there had to be public outcry. There had to be a galvanizing of America. So what did they do? Building number 7, anybody? Anybody? Well, it was the first time in history we've seen a building collapse due to fire. The entire building collapsed in less than 7 seconds. That was free fall. No, it wasn't like Oklahoma, where there was a bomb stationed outside the building and there was a huge blast. No, the whole building fell to the ground in less than 7 seconds. And they want you to believe that crap. Okay? That's the story that they have released as their official report by their science and structural technology service administration. The United States official report from the United States government is that building number 7 on 9/11 fell 46 stories in 7 seconds due to fire on the top 10 floors. Hey, no problem. No problem. Oh, and it had been on fire, pay attention, for 7 hours. Say what? 7 hours. Where's the fire department? Well, they died all in the World Trade Center. Really? All of them? Well, not really, but that was, they died. Really? So they couldn't send anybody over there, and there was nobody over there trying to help put that fire out, huh? Well, if you look at the reports, and there's a lot of reports with people having their cameras out and everything, camera phones, showing the police telling everybody to get out of the building. So, of course, nobody was trying to put it out. They made everybody get out of the building, saying that she's going to blow. She's going to blow. She's going to blow. She's coming down. That's right. They told everybody the building was coming down before it came down. And Britain had already reported, hey, the building came down, y'all. Yeah, as we've reported, the exact words of the newscaster, go back and watch the video. I did it, 9/11 celebration. Celebrate good times. Okay? Yeah, Britain announced that the building had already fallen. But they say it's a conspiracy. Even though those were live reports, you better believe there was a conspiracy. So, ladies and gentlemen, they control the narrative. They control the media. The media continues to report. Pay attention to the media. They report the same story over and 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 over again. Your neighbor, he's the one you need to watch out for. No, your neighbor, that's the one that you need to pay attention to, because your neighbor could be a homegrown terrorist. Yeah, if he stays to himself, if he's elusive, if he doesn't want to be bothered, then you got to pay more attention to him, because that's the neighbor right there that's going to sit up there and kidnap your mama, stab your brother in the heart, or tell your sister that she ugly. Yeah, that's the neighbor you need to look out for. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what they've done. The idea is, as long as they can keep the people divided, California right now, the United States, the rest of the world, as long as they can keep people divided, keep people fighting against each other, then they can carry out their plan. What is their plan? I don't care. Honestly, I don't care. I don't care what their plan is, because their plan is not my issue. I'm not trying to stop their plan. I can't stop their plan. They are the ones in control of everything. You can't stop their plan. Do you not understand? No one has been able to stop their plan for the last 200 years. Yes, this has been in effect for over 200 years. This has been a plan for quite some time. They didn't put up those monuments for nothing, showing about depopulation. You think this was the first time somebody realized that they had a depopulation plan? Just like all the other times, nobody believed it. It sounded ludicrous. That's just some theory. You ain't got no proof. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't need to have proof of depopulation. They've already done it with the animals. Go ahead. They've already done it with vegetation. Go ahead, take a look. Vegetation, the thing that is supposed to keep humans healthy. Have you not noticed how many autoimmune diseases are out there that are running rampant? And how they continue to attack the immune system? All of the drugs they give people who have autoimmune diseases attacks the autoimmune system. The one drug that they tried to give me, and I am so glad I had a side effect for that junk, was prednisone. One of the side effects for prednisone is even it may cause death. Sorry, prednisone. That piece of junk drug, people, if you're taking prednisone, they say, well, you got to continue to take it. You can't come off prednisone. Ladies and gentlemen, I took prednisone, and you better believe I came off prednisone. But you can't just come off prednisone. The side effect. Okay, show. The side effects of coming off prednisone is worse than the side effects of staying on it. Prednisone caused me what they refer to as mouth ulcers. Holes. The drug was literally eating away at the flesh in my mouth. Oh, that's nasty! No, we didn't get to the point where there were actual real holes that, oh, look at that, I can see your teeth through your side of your cheek. Ooh-wee, that looks kind of nasty, bruh. It didn't get to that point. What I did is I told him, this ain't normal. And I know it's coming from this drug. Yeah, that's one of the side effects. We need to take you off of that. Wait a minute. I thought you said I couldn't just cut the drug. Oh, no. We put that out there as a basic. Oh, okay. Whew, it's a good thing I stopped before you said you were going to take me off. I wasn't sure, but I'm so glad I took my own advice and not yours, because you're supposed to be the expert, but you're the one sitting up here causing me mouth sores, mother. You should have told me about this being a possibility. How come you didn't go over all of these side effects with me? We find that most people who are on these medications, these chemicals, that's right, you hear the word medication, and that means chemical. You hear the word medicine, and that means natural. Dr. Quinn, medicine doctor? Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not telling you to go all hallucinate. I'm not telling you to go to herbal, not telling you to go to natural. That's not my suggestion. You have to make your own health decisions. You have to do your own research. Everybody is not different. Ladies and gentlemen, the majority of bodies are different from the majority of bodies. But however, the reason why they can come up with cures for certain things is because many bodies have similarities. Okay? So your similarities, your side effects, your reactions to certain chemicals, certain natural drugs may not be the same as mine. For instance, I can't eat onions, especially raw onions. I cannot handle raw onions to save your life. Raw onions, man, causes me bleeding and several other things. Now, in the past, I love onion rings. In the past, I could eat onion rings to death. And that's basically what it eventually caused me, is death. And that is my opinion. I haven't tested out that theory yet, and I don't think I'm willing to test out that theory, because as I say, I loved it myself, and because I loved it myself, I don't want to die. All right. For those of you, remember, we're just talking because I'm on my way into the city. I'm going to be loading up this video and a couple other videos while I'm in the city, because I am taking this trip. As I mentioned, those of you who think you understand what's going on, if you are following politics, then you don't understand what's going on. If you're believing that some political leader is doing this or doing that, then you don't know what's going on. If you are holding on to, they're trying to do this and they're trying to do that, then you don't know what's going on. Stop guessing. We know that there's depopulation. We know that they are trying to depopulate. That's why they did the depopulation of the bees. I'm just going to tell it to you like it is so that you get it. The depopulation of the bees was so that there would be less pollination of the plants. While there was less pollination of the plants, they couldn't let you see that they were putting out these artificial plants. By putting out these artificial plants in this depopulation arena, it was killing off our wonderful bees. Because these artificial plants were poisonous to our bees, these idiots decided to put out an artificial bee. Don't worry about it, they have artificial mosquitoes, so why wouldn't you understand that they have artificial bees? What, you didn't know that that's how Zika? You remember Zika, right? That started from the artificial mosquito. Yeah, where they sat up there and manipulated the genes of the mosquito and produced this new breed of mosquito. And the side effect was when the mosquito bit humans, they were supposed to kill each other and then die off because they put a kill switch in the stupid mosquito. So that at a certain point, all they had to do was put a triggering agent out there in the environment and all of those mosquitoes would die. But no, those mosquitoes gained an immunity. They evolved. And when those mosquitoes, those artificial mosquitoes, evolved, you had Zika. Anybody been hearing about Zika lately? You ain't heard nothing about no Zika in years, huh? But at the beginning, when they first released those millions of mosquitoes into that area, because they were doing an open air test, and they did it on islanders. Why did they do it on islanders and people in Brazil? Because they're not first or second world countries. Those are third world countries. Those are countries who don't have militaries with nuclear weapons. Those are countries who don't pose a threat. Those are countries whom we can cause harm to. What they gonna do? That's why. But go back and take a look. You don't hear nothing about Zika today. But you did hear about it for a minute. Babies being born prematurely, babies being born with very tiny heads. Why? And how come nobody's ever paid for that? How come the company who did that has never paid? Well, they had a settlement. No, please, you don't understand. How come they haven't paid for that? How come the executives are not in jail? Because they keep creating, like they did with these so-called mRNA, so-called vaccines. They keep creating these laws saying, oh, we're going to hold these idiots harmless. Yeah, we're going to let them use the world as their laboratory and If anybody dies, gets sick, or become deformed, please, they got our protection. And we ain't letting nothing happen to y'all. We got y'all back. Now, yeah, this ain't, no, you need to understand this ain't Germany. This ain't Nuremberg. Ain't nobody gonna mess with you. We got you, homie. No, you go ahead and you just run your test. You kill as many people as you want. We got your back. That's what's going on. You guys can't see that they're running experiments on people. I'm keeping up with the vaccine thing, and this morning, what I was hearing didn't make sense. They literally spoke and said, this is what I heard them say on the news. They talked about the clinical trials for the COVID vaccine, that they were still ongoing. Isn't that amazing? That these so-called wannabe vaccines, the trials are still ongoing. So they're testing out their mRNA treatments on people, and people are none the wiser. This is an amazing world. You just gotta love it. And when I say you gotta love it, because that's the way they've set it up. It's an amazing world. So we have this arena, and as I said, the scriptures already foretold that the nations would come together as one. So we already knew about a new world order. The Bible had already foretold that. So you don't have to believe in a conspiracy. You just have to understand that's a prophecy that done come true. That's what you have to understand. You don't have to believe in a conspiracy. You just have to understand that, hey, wait a minute. The Bible did say that they give all their power to that wild beast. And it does say that there are kingdoms. And that the kingdoms will give all their power to the wild beast. And in the Bible, nations and kingdoms, Jesus said, nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. So nations and kingdoms, that means all the governments. Okay, so that makes sense. Now when you put the sense together, because you don't have to be a rocket scientist, okay? You don't have to, what's the word I'm trying to say? You don't have to sit up there and convince yourself that something is the truth. The truth is the truth. It doesn't need your assistance. Many of you believe things because you convince yourself that those things are what they are. And that's where you make your mistake. As long as you convince yourself that something is the truth, then you make the mistake of being misled by your own thinking. It's okay, we can mislead ourselves. The same as we can be misled by someone else, we can be misled by our own minds, by our own thinking. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. So to keep yourself from being misled by your thinking, what you need to do, and it is real simple, is to question even that thought that you just had by saying, well, no, I'm not misled. I know what I'm thinking. I know what I'm... The moment you start doing that, the moment you start saying, well, I know, then that lets you know that you've misled yourself, because you're not that bright, because you had the study to understand what you understand to this day. So because you've had the study to understand what you've understood to this day, then you don't know. So stop trying to tell yourself what you know. It's not what you know, it's not what you think you know. Just because you went to some website and read something on some website, many of you think that you're geniuses. Many of you think that you have that knowledge down pat. No, you don't. This ain't got nothing to do with that. Gaining understanding of something is not you going to some website and reading some web page. Okay? Gaining understanding of something is not you going and picking up a book or reading an ebook written by one person saying, yeah, and such and such, such and such, and his book said, what the? Who told you that somebody's book was based on fact? Look, you don't read a book that's written by one person. You read a book that's written by several persons who are staking their reputation on the information in that book. Oh, you mean like those scientists from the government who talked about the building falling in 7 seconds being as a result of just simple fire? Exactly. Because when you prove them wrong, then you never go to that source ever again. When you prove them wrong, then you never go to that source ever again. Sorry, I had a truck in front of me, and he was on this highway where the speed limit is 55. He wasn't doing 55. Let's just say that. All right, but he just turned off, and I'm going, yay! All right, getting back to, yes, I'm blaming you, and you too. Why? Because all of you, I keep hearing people talk about what they know. I keep hearing people talk about the things, for instance, and then I'm going to get back to explaining about this new world so-called order junk. I did a video yesterday, and I told people that I went to the IRS site, and I needed to set up a trust. And the trust that I set up, please understand, is a conservatorship trust. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not setting up a conservatorship. I'm setting up a conservatorship trust for an incompetent person, being a straw man. I'm not setting up a conservatorship trust on the state level. Not required to. Okay? I'm setting up a conservatorship trust on the federal level. But someone sent me, and I appreciated the person sending it to me. He sent me the requirements for training for being a conservative over a trust on the state level. Well, I appreciate the state coming up with regulations, because that's what the state does. And I will go over those regulations to make sure that I'm complying with those regulations on a minimum level, because I am not on the state level with my conservative. See, my reasoning was that if I am said to be the surety for the straw person, then fine. The straw person is incompetent. If I am surety for that straw person, then here, you guys need to lock that mother up, okay? No, I'm the conservative for the accountant, and if that straw person is doing all this stuff, lock that mother up, okay? I still get paid though, because I'm the conservator, but lock that mother up, because he ain't got no business out in society. Ooh, the way you guys are talking, he's a threat to everybody. Now, when y'all get finished with him, y'all return him to me, okay? All right, there he is. Y'all saw what I did. Oh no, many of you, I am so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Many of you don't realize redress right. So many of you are not aware of the redress right videos, or how I said when I went into the courtroom and I took a Build-A-Bear. Hi, my name is Teddy. Okay? And I brought Build-A-Bear to court and sat him in a chair in a civil trial. And all the judge did was looked at me and said, okay, I see what you're doing. And in my mind, I'm going, I don't know what you're talking about, ignorant mother. You want to play this game? You want to say I'm an all capital name? Well, here is your straw person. And the judge, they called my name, and the bear, I hit the little button. He says, hi, my name is Bridget, and I am blah, 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 blah. Because it was Build-A-Bear. It had a voice box. So it spoke for itself. Do you understand? I think, therefore I am. But to have that thing speak in court, now I was differentiating myself from the straw person. I know, it sounds crazy, don't it? The rest of the people who were sitting there thought that it was crazy. But not that idiot sitting on that bench. He didn't think I was crazy. You know what he said? He said, I see what you're doing. What the you coming into my courtroom trying to embarrass the court like that, proving to these people that all they have to do is differentiate themselves from the straw man? Oh, like I said, my job wasn't to embarrass anybody. I'm not trying to embarrass the court. What I'm trying to do is say, I understand, mother. Okay? These other people say they understand, but they don't understand. I understand. Now, that was 2012. And I told people when I did that, I was laughing for 3 straight hours. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not joking with you about laughing for 3 straight hours and hysterically out loud because it was hilarious to me when I came up with that idea. Because as I told you, my job was to prove that there was a straw man. My job was to prove that we could distinguish from the two. So when I was on the IRS site, I hadn't paid attention to the conservatorship. Okay? But I figured, let me go ahead and create an EIN number for this creature. And I'm going to follow and fill out the tax paperwork. I'm not doing this for games. I ain't doing this for kicks. Ain't that right, Mr. Rogers Nelson? Prince. Okay, anyway, I'm sorry. That was a bad reference because when he says he ain't doing something for kicks, he actually says he ain't doing something for kicks. So I apologize in advance for those people who understood the reference to the doing something for kicks. Ladies and gentlemen, this whole thing about understanding what's getting ready to come, this whole thing about understanding the depopulation of bees and what's that all about, this whole thing about Monsanto's and them doing genetic manipulation of plants and of people and of genes, this whole thing about going after people's immune systems, all of this is for one purpose and one purpose only. You know, I hear they got cities underneath the Denver airport. Who gives a... who cares? Who cares that they have cities under Denver airport? They could have cities under an ant-hole. I don't care. That ain't got nothing to do with me. That don't mean nothing in the long scheme of things. You know that they have a military base in Hawaii? Who gives a... Ladies and gentlemen, you guys are focusing on the wrong things. You think that you just discovered some new information, and this new information is like the bomb. Nobody else knows it. Nobody else understands it. Nobody else knew that it existed. Y'all are so off base. You're focused on the wrong things. You think that you just discovered something, and what you discovered doesn't amount to nothing, doesn't mean nothing, isn't about nothing. So stop focusing on nothing. Nothing is what you're worried about. I know. They're not going to force me to get vaccinated. Why are you worried about that? Have they forced you yet? So why are you worried about that? Whom have they forced to get vaccinated, people? Name one person they forced to get vaccinated. So why are you having that argument? It's a baseless argument. It's not based on reality. It's based on a supposition. Maybe it might happen. It could happen. So why are you worried? You know what could happen tomorrow? The sky could come falling and tumbling down. Yeah, right. So why are you worried about something that hasn't happened? Something that more than likely will not happen. Well, the government is saying this, and the government is saying, let the government say this. When you work for the government controls you. They are just proving that. That's why they can mandate that all government employees get vaccinated, because they're government employees. They work for the government. The government controls them. They are government property, but nobody's paying attention. You're in the military, you're government property. They can force you to get vaccinated, but the rest of you people are not government property. So why are you worried about them? Well, they say that, so what? Who said it? Who said they're getting ready to do this? Who said that? Well, I was listening to such and such, such and such. You were listening to such and such, such and such. So you ain't actually seen no proof. Well, no, but it's like when I heard the news conference, he said blah, blah, blah. Oh, and so now you're reading into somebody. Well, ain't that what you do? No, I don't do that, ladies and gentlemen. Just because somebody said something in one conference, I don't speak on what they intended or meant until they actually do what they intended or meant. Okay, other than that, it don't mean a thing. It don't mean a thing. And people are worried about nothing. It don't mean a thing. Okay? It don't mean a thing. So stop worrying about things that don't matter. Now, what you need to be worried about is this. They know for a fact what they're doing when it comes to the immune system, when it comes to your health. They know that by altering or changing the genetics of these vegetables, of these plants, of this animal life, yeah, that's why they're putting so many chemicals into the animals that they process as food, the chickens and the beef and all of these other animals. They know what they're doing. They're attacking your immune system. That's why I am very happy about not eating meat, because I ain't got to worry about having all those chemicals in me, altering my system. Yes, if it alters the animal system, it alters your system. We can prove it. That's why we have so many individuals who are obese, and they don't understand why they're obese and why they can't lose weight. It's because of the chemicals they're putting in these animals. It's because of the chemicals. They don't realize that when they put the chemicals in the animals and we eat the animals, hoo-wee, there is a so-called chain reaction. There is a consequence for that, ladies and gentlemen. There is a consequence for that. You can't just put chemicals in an animal and then we eat the animal and think that we're not going to get any side effects of the chemicals. Isn't that what global warming is supposed to be all about? The side effects of what we're putting into the environment? So how can you put something into the Earth's environment and it affects the Earth, but you put something into your environment and you think it ain't going to affect you? What is wrong with you people? But they know this, ladies and gentlemen. They know exactly what their chemicals are doing. They know exactly what their chemicals are doing. They know exactly how their chemicals are reacting to you and everybody else and their grandmama. Okay, this ain't no news to them. They've already done the research. They've already done the research. They've already said, hey, you know what? This fool right here, he gonna eat this and look at what it's gonna do to him. Oh, and her over there, she gonna eat this and watch what it does to her. And they know this. That's why you'll hear the politicians say, man, I don't eat that junk. That's why you hear the owners of the restaurant saying, man, I'd never eat that junk. And the owners of the Coca-Colas and 7-Up companies and the Sprite company, man, I don't drink that stuff. Man, please, I wouldn't even let my family drink that stuff. That's why you hear the people who work at these factories and these plants saying, man, I wouldn't eat that. Nah. Okay. You guys know what I'm talking about. That's why you hear them all talk about what they wouldn't eat, what they wouldn't touch. Because that's our society. There are people out there who know, who are in the know, who will tell you what's going on. I've met several of those people who work for several of those companies. I've met people who work for McDonald's. Now look, I don't eat meat, but I wouldn't eat at McDonald's even if it was meat. Okay? Wait, are you saying McDonald's don't... Hey, don't take my word for it. People are still trying to figure out what that junk is. Some people are saying it's soy. Okay? I don't care what it is. I just know it ain't meat. Well, they say they serve real Angus beef. If they serve real Angus beef, then somebody needs to go talk to Real and tell him that he's going to have to change up his brand because McDonald's is sitting up there giving it a bad name. Okay? All right. Now we said we were going to get back, and now we get back to the good part. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our New World Order, and we call it new. It is not new. It is a world order, though. Okay? So stop thinking that it's new. New World Order is the United Nations. Okay, the United Nations has put forth the plan. Now, if you don't believe me, what do you think Rio de Janeiro was all about? When they sat up there and came up with the Agenda 21. Now, everybody knows Agenda 21 exists because they've already done the research. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell it to you because you may not understand it, and I don't expect many of you to get it. When we were telling people about Agenda 21, nobody could say it was a fluke, nobody could say it was a hoax, but Agenda 21 reads just like any other statute. That they're not really talking about that. They're talking about they are talking about redevelopment. Okay? They're talking about development of lands, development of towns, societies. Okay, this development that they're talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is even in nations such as the United States. They're redeveloping the whole world. When you hear people talk about FEMA maps, I can't tell you if those maps are accurate because I don't know where they came from. But I can tell you that going along with Agenda 21, if you read Agenda 21, that's exactly what Agenda 21 is saying it's doing. That's not what I'm saying it's doing. That's what Agenda 21 is saying they're doing. Okay? Agenda 21 is their act that they put in place. I didn't write Agenda 21. Agenda 21 is not a conspiracy theory. We can prove that Agenda 21 exists. So the next time somebody tells you about a conspiracy theory, about some New World Order, all you got to do is tell them to go read Agenda 21. It's not for developing countries because every country is a developing country. We're talking about the law here, how legalese is written. It uses the word developing country under the term developing. Every country is developing. We have residential developments. We have all kind of community developments in America. We have developments of property for corporations. Everything's a development. Every country is a developing country. We develop film, okay? Everything's a developing country. So when they speak about developing, you need to understand the word. The word is not limited to what you thought. The word is limited to the definition for which they put in the statute, which is why they say things like, well, the word include also excludes, and it means this and it means that. That's why they create their own meaning for their words. So stop going by what you think the word means and go by what they say the word means. That makes a big difference. And people don't pay attention to the differences and how big they are and how the world runs. Sorry, Charlies. Really, 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 really sorry, Charlies. All right. So now that we have our Agenda 21, now we can prove, along with what the scriptures say about the nations giving all their power and authority to the wild beasts, now we can prove what the scriptures say, that there is a world nation thing going on. Wasn't that all we were trying to do? Wasn't it all we were trying to do? Weren't we just trying to prove that? And that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not in the city yet. I'm about 15 minutes from the city, but this is my trip every single day. Normally, I'm listening to a Bible drama or a Watchtower magazine. That's what I do with my trip. It's time for me and my God. So what I said is, I didn't put my God on hold. What I said to myself is, I'm going to share this moment with y'all. Okay, with you all right? And so that's what this moment is for. I'm sharing it with you all. All right, I got about maybe 5 more minutes and then I'm going to go ahead and shut this off. I'm actually kind of glad that it's still going because the last time it would cut off after 14 minutes. So, we have the New World Order. We can prove the New World Order exists. It's not a guess. We don't have to imagine the New World Order exists. We can prove the New World Order exists. Okay, Agenda 21 is your proof. This is a world development. when they do things like Agenda 21, and it affects the entire world, that lets you know that there is an agenda respecting the entire world. Wait, hold on. New World Order. And the word new is misleading. It's not new. We have the United Nations that explains the New World Order. They create agendas. They have programs. They have policies that they come up with all the time that you guys are not aware of. Ladies and gentlemen, you only hear about the United Nations when they have their General Assembly meetings, their General Council meetings. That's the only time you hear about the so-called United Nations. That's not all they do, people. That's not all the United Nations does. United Nations is a world-controlling organization. They are a world-dominating entity. When you talk about New World Order, there's only one organization that controls the world, and the New World Order is that organization. Now, people say, well, we're talking about the cabal, the group that controls them. That's true. I'm talking about the same thing. But you don't go after the head. You can't go after the head. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're trying to take down a building, you undermine its foundation. Okay? If you're trying to take down a building, look at the World Trade Center. You undermine its foundation. You take out the legs, the building will fall. If you got a person that is 700 feet tall and he's coming at you trying to hurt you and you can't get at his head, then you go at his feet. Don't go at the legs. Why you want to go after his legs? Please, you go after that big toe. Go ahead. You stump anybody on their big toe and see if they can control themselves. So, ladies and gentlemen, many of you who don't understand what's going on, you have to go after foundations. You have to go after the foundation of everything. Many of you are trying to attack the body like it's a boxing match. This is not a boxing match. You can't attack the body. You have to go after the foundation. The foundation, that's me getting a signal. Oh, I'm sorry. For most of that trip that we just had, there is no cell phone signal. Go back and re-look at this video and look at the cell phone signal, how it comes in and out. You can't make a call. Okay? You can't make a call to anybody during that trip because there is no cell phone signal. So if somebody gets into an accident along that road, then they are SOL unless somebody can come along and find them. It just works that way. Other than that, they stuck. That's that trip right there that I just took. I'm in a little small town, the town that's near my place, and it's a quaint little town. You know, I ain't seen a single piece of pepper in this town since I got here. Just all a little bit of salt and a little bit of seasoned salt. And that's it. Just a little bit of seasoned salt. But I go to the next town over, and there's a lot of seasoned salt and a little bit of salt. You know what I mean? Oh, y'all don't understand what I mean? Then I ain't going to explain it to y'all. The people who know what I mean know what I mean. Okay? The people who know what I mean know what I mean. Sorry. I'm going to bring this to a conclusion. Like I said, my job was to come to you all's attention and explain a couple of things to hope that you would understand. Everybody is talking about New World Order. Everybody is talking about wanting to get out of this system, wanting to get out of that system. Everybody's talking about, well, this person's doing this and this person's doing that. Everybody's talking about, well, they don't have the right to do this and they don't have the right. Everybody's talking about right, wrong, this right, that right. Everybody, you guys are wrong. I'm just going to tell it to you like it is. You guys are wrong because it's not what you think. It's not what you say it is. It is what it is. Okay? It is what it is. You know, now I told you somebody made that comment to me And they got nothing but my anger. Don't talk about it is what it is. Because they were talking about with reference to a complaint that I made. And I was letting them know that it don't work like that. You don't is what it is, me, you ignorant mother. That's what I was saying. What I'm telling you guys is we can prove that there is a quote unquote new world order. We can prove this. Here's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. So what? It doesn't change anything. So what? We can prove it. It doesn't change anything. You guys, what I'm trying to tell you is stop arguing about the things that you have no control over. Stop arguing about whether there's a new world order. Who cares? That's not the issue. Stop arguing about whether or not they're going to make people take vaccines. Why are you having that conversation? That ain't got nothing to do with anything. What you should be worried about is how do I pay my bills? I just did the video on Title 51. Go read that law. Understand it. Title 51, Title 50. But pay attention, it's not Title 50 that you want, ladies and gentlemen. It is the statute at large for which it comes from, which is the March 9th, 1933 Act and the October 6th, 1917 Act. That's what you need. You need the statute at large. You attach that statute at large section, let that be the foundation of law because that's prima facie evidence of law, and then you attach the constitutional amendment associated to it. And then you attach the articles of the Constitution and watch and see how things change. All of you are being done like the judge did the guy who brought the issue up in the first place. All of you are being done like that. What did the judge say? He used an invalid act, an invalid law. They specifically said Congress repealed that. Okay? So how can you use it? That's what the court was saying. This is to keep you from going along that same route. At least that's my hope. Now, I have to go because I have to go into this post office, but I want to tell you I'm very grateful and glad we took this time together, and I'm going to talk to Carol Burnett and see if we can create a new song. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. Y'all have a good day. Gotta go.